yours a reality.
1580 103.3 WPKY. Good morning. It's 8:21, about 36 right now. And we are joined this morning by Sarah Cline. She is here this morning to talk to us about some upcoming EMT classes. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
All right. So tell me, first of all, what is your position? Tell me what you do.
I work over here at EMS in town for ComCare. I'm a paramedic, so I work mainly on the ambulance, responding to ambulance runs, and then obviously we do a lot of other things beyond that. And I also help teach EMT classes. So those are my main duties. I respond to runs, and then I teach these classes up here at EMS.
Okay. How long have you been a paramedic?
I have been a paramedic for just over a year now. I've been doing this for a little while, but I've only been at that level for about a year.
You've been doing this for a while, meaning?
The EMS, this job. There's different levels within EMS. There's EMT basic, there's an EMT advanced, there's a EMT paramedic, and so I've worked my way up to paramedic here recently, but I've been in the business for a little while.
Okay. You don't really look old enough to be in for a little while. maybe 5 years or so.
Not too long, but.
Okay. So how did you get involved in this field?
In EMS? Well, I guess I kind of grew up in it. My dad is an EMT also, and he got me into it. So I've basically been doing this as long as I've been doing anything. I got into it when I was a kid at a volunteer fire department, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. Okay. So when you say a kid, you mean like?
I was about 16 when I joined the fire department.
Wow. Okay. And here in Princeton?
No, I'm not actually from around here at all. I'm from Oregon.
Okay. And what brought you to Princeton?
I moved over here. The Army brought me over here. I'm not in the Army at all, no, but I came over here, and I've been in Princeton for about 2 years now.
Okay. All right. Through the Army?
Mm-hmm. All
right. So when did you said it's been about a year that you got your full-fledged paramedic.
Yes.
What was the process for that?
It's a few different steps in that process. I started out at the absolute lowest level that you can in EMS, which is not a mandatory step, but it's a lower step than you have to take, which is called an EMR. It's a very basic class. You learn a little bit more than basic first aid and CPR. You learn how to take care of a lot of different things, medical emergencies, trauma emergencies, but it's a pretty quick class. There's not a lot of interventions or medicines that you can give at that level. I started that when I very first started the volunteer fire department when I was 16. I moved on from that to my EMT basic. That's the class that we're teaching up here soon is the EMT basic level. At that level, you just do a little bit more. You can give a few more medications. You learn a little bit more about the body systems and everything, different injuries and stuff. The EMT basic class is generally a 6-month class. There are programs that can crank it down to about 3 months, but my class was 6 months. And then after that, to move on to your paramedic level, it's about a 1.5 to a 2-year program that you have to take through a college generally. I went over here to Madisonville Community College. I think my program was 18 months, and I completed my associate's degree in paramedicine and got my my paramedic license through that. So it's a little bit of training by the time you get all the way to this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But this is something, so like, was there just never a question because your dad was in it and it was just kind of?
Yeah, I guess as a kid, I never was actually that interested until my dad made me come down. He like forced me. He said, "You're coming to the fire department. That's what you're doing." Oh, no. And once I actually did it, I absolutely loved it. And so I guess, yeah, for just about most of my adult life, this is all I've done.
There's
and
never been another draw, nothing else that said, "Hey, Sarah, let's try this."
Yeah, not too much.
So the EMT basic class that's coming up, what will they be able to do? What will we be able to do? If I go through this class, I spend 6 months of my life, mm-hmm. and however much the cost is going to be, which we'll get to in a few minutes.
Yeah.
What can I expect after I'm done?
So an EMT basic can do basic patient care in either emergency settings, or we also do a lot of work in non-emergency settings. We transport patients to and from basically anywhere they need to be. If they're sick or they're injured and they can't just get in a car, we do that also. But their main job would be to respond to medical and traumatic emergencies, usually on an ambulance, though there's different capacities you can use this sort of certificate for. There's a whole bunch of different things you could do. But on the ambulance, they can treat different traumatic things. If somebody's bleeding or something, they can apply a tourniquet. They can put a splint. They understand different injuries and what you need to do for it. If you have the internal injuries, things that they can do to treat those. They also can give some medications. If you're having breathing problems, they can give medicine to help you breathe a little bit better. If you're having cardiac issues, they have medicines they can give to help with your cardiac issues. And they're trained to recognize different signs and symptoms that might be indicative of, a very bad cardiac event, a heart attack or something. And so they're able to understand where that patient needs to go, if they need to go to this hospital or a different hospital, or what kind of treatment they need. They don't do as many interventions as a paramedic does. A paramedic has a plethora of different medications and interventions and things that they could do. Your EMT basic doesn't do as many, but they absolutely do have some basic medicines they can give and interventions they can do. And then also they're trained very well to back up a paramedic. We always travel in twos, at least on the ambulance, and the EMTs are very well trained to assist that paramedic in whatever they need if the patient is requiring a higher level of care.
Okay, so I go through the class and I've got all my training, and my first step, obviously, we're going to say, hey, I'm interested in this field. I want to see where this would take me. And we get our training. What jobs are out there? What is it with a basic EMT class? Are we going to be able to find a job, or do they really look more for the licensed paramedics? Or?
Yeah, there's in this area there's a little bit more of a demand for a paramedic just because it's more training, but there's absolutely a demand for EMTs. Even right here in Caldwell County, we hired quite a few out of our last class because we were always looking for good quality individuals that want to come work up there. Obviously, that's with the ambulance. You can always work for an ambulance as an EMT basic, or there's fire departments that hire EMT basics. Just in this area, the Hopkinsville Fire Department hires EMT basics or paramedics even. And then there are other options with this job. People can get into safety at different places. I know I worked for a little while at the Nashville Zoo. I was not doing exactly patient care, but I was doing safety for all different kinds of things. So there's a lot of different places you can get into with an EMT basic license. As far as safety goes, I am not personally experienced in as much as that, but your ambulance is probably your most common job that you get. There's absolutely a demand for it, even right here in this area. We have quite a few EMT basics over here in Caldwell County that work for us. We definitely have more EMT basics than we do paramedics, but we're always looking for good quality EMTs.
So it just opens up a lot of doors. What sort of salary range can somebody expect after?
I think our EMTs over here are making, and I don't know exactly, but they're probably making a little less or a little more than $35,000 a year. So it's not a very, very high paying job. Unfortunately, we all love our job. We're not getting rich, but it's a wonderful job, and it definitely depends on where you work. I make pretty drastically different wages here versus a different job that I work at, and so it just depends. It depends on where you're at and what you're doing.
Absolutely. And and for some people, if they're so 30,000 to some is a lot more than 30,000 to others. So that's really not for 6 month training. That's not too shabby.
Oh no, not at all. It's an absolutely doable program. You have to apply yourself. You have to study. You have to pay attention in class and work hard. But it's absolutely doable. It's not something that's impossible for people. You can get in, you can get the class done, and you can get it done in 6 months and ultimately go straight to work. There's a couple tests, national and state level tests that you have to take to become certified. But once you're done with that, you can go right to work on an ambulance at a fire department, wherever.
What if we've never had a medical background before?
The EMT basic class starts at base level, absolutely entry level. You could know, nothing about the human body, and there's no anatomy and physiology
toe.
class.
We're going to teach you that. These are fingers.
That's basically, we start very basic, and we will work with, some people know a little bit more and some people know a little less, and we'll work with anybody at whatever their level is at and help them understand what they need to get to that EMT level.
That's exciting. That's very exciting. Mm-hmm. So what is the cost of this program? This program
here in town in Princeton here is $800 total. We provide the book. We also provide a uniform. They have to do ride time. They have to ride on the ambulance, get some experience in their class. So we provide some things like that for them, some little supplies. But the book is one of the bigger expenses that we provide for them. But it is an $800 fee. There is an opportunity for a discounted price for that for first responders within our county here. We absolutely want to help the people here out that help us. So our volunteer firefighters, if any of our law enforcement officers or even our dispatchers, anybody was interested, then they would be considered a first responder. We could discount them, but our base pay or rate for that class is going to be $800.
And is that expected upfront?
It is due by the first day of class. It's not, we don't really have a set payment plan. If anybody needed to pay in chunks up to the first day of class, they absolutely could, and we've had that before. But it is due in whole by that first day.
Okay. And orientation for this class is January the 3rd, correct?
Yes, January the 3rd at 5 p.m.
A week from today?
Yeah, a week from today. It's coming up fast. We're going to have an orientation class. We're going to sit down and talk to everybody that's already registered, get them their books, get them squared away, and get ready to start our actual lecturing class 1 week after that, which is the 10th.
Okay. And the classes are 2 nights a week?
They are, yes. Tuesday, Thursday nights from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Ooh, yeah. For 6 months.
Yep. It'll wear you out by the end of it, but it's worth it.
Yes, yeah. And, okay, so $800 up front, which seems very nominal when you're talking. There are jobs available, and we can look at between, 30 and up to start off. So, if somebody's got that would be, and has any interest, or just, sitting here thinking, what do I want to do with my life? I don't know what I want to do with my life. Well, what better thing to do than get out and start helping people? Do something that is giving back to.
Absolutely. And it really opens doors. It's a pretty basic level class, like you said. And just because you go get your EMT license doesn't mean you have to go get your paramedic. It might open a door and get your foot in the door and go to nursing, or even go to med school if you want to. It really it gets you into the medical field, and you could take it in a lot of different directions. I know plenty of people that have done their EMT basic and then went to nursing, or even on to PA. I know some paramedics who have gone through paramedic and then gone to be a physician assistant. It's a good start just to get into medicine, basic medicine at first, and then decide where you want to go after that.
So what, typically, do you stay pretty busy in your days of?
We do. It's completely hit or miss. We never can predict what we're going to be doing that day. And it's one of the reasons I absolutely love this job. No one day is the same. Sometimes we come in, we generally work 12-hour shifts or 24-hour shifts. I usually work 24-hour shifts. So sometimes you come in at 8 a.m. and you don't stop moving till 8 a.m. the next day, which is obviously exhausting. But and then there's other days when we don't stay that busy. We don't always get a lot of runs. Sometimes we kind of have to keep ourselves busy around the station. We obviously always have chores to do. We have maintenance to do on our trucks. We have checks to do on all of our medical supplies and all of our ambulances. And then just basic housekeeping around our station we always have to do also. So we try to keep ourselves busy. Sometimes we are busier than other times. It depends.
And so I'm assuming that somebody would have to be able to have a strong stomach to get into this line of work.
Yeah, sometimes the things that we see could definitely make some people queasy. Although one of the bigger things is just riding backwards in a big moving truck. It makes you car sick sometimes.
Oh wow!
It's hard.
I wouldn't even have thought about that.
Yeah, every now and then I get car sick. You don't think about when you're working hard and you're not looking out and you're just bouncing down the road in a big box.
Oh wow!
It's easy to get car sick. But then some of the things we see also, and it could kind of make you queasy. I guess it just depends on the individual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you said, oh shoot, I just lost what I was gonna ask you because I was getting queasy about thinking about everything.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, okay. So you said 24-hour shifts. How? I guess I'm thinking, how safe is that? How safe are we in your hands if you haven't had sleep? You know, if we've had an emergency and I need somebody to come take care of me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm getting the person that's on their 22nd hour awake.
Yeah, it's a struggle for us sometimes, and it's obviously something that you've got to be able to do. If you're not able to work those 24-hour shifts, then there's other options for shifts. We have policies. We have to show up to work well rested. We can't be up all night and then, I'll just run into work this morning. I got an hour of sleep. We just can't do that. And our employers know that we can't do that. And we all recognize the safety issues that there is there with the exhaustion. But as long as we get our rest, we come into work refreshed, we come in ready to go, staying working for 24 hours is absolutely doable. I've done it time and time again. It is tiring, but as long as we make sure that we're ready to go when we get to work, we can do it. And when we're at work, we are given the opportunity to rest when we can. During the day, we try to stay busy, we try to get stuff done. But at night, they have places for us to rest. They have places for us to sleep. We don't stay up every single day for 24 hours every shift. We are able to sleep when we can. So we try to keep that exhaustion to a minimum. Sometimes it is hard for us, but if we reach that point, we all understand that when we reach that point when we are too tired, we have to tell somebody, we have to get somebody to come in and help, and we absolutely do that.
Okay, that's good to know. That's comforting. Because I'm thinking, I work 12-hour days sometimes between this job and my other job, and by the time I get home at 5 o'clock in the evening, I'm just like done. Like I'm, shower in bed. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I can do, and that's only a 12-hour day. So I could not imagine.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I get home at 8:30 a.m. and I'm shower in bed and sleep the rest of the day when you're up all night. But that's why we have to be careful not to work more than 24-hour shifts. A lot of times we can work a little bit more than that, but our employers really try to keep that to a minimum, and obviously we do too, because that it can become dangerous, but we absolutely do our best to keep that down and keep us all well rested and able to work.
Sure, because you don't want to get off of work and be driving home and have to be the reason that somebody goes on a call.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we all drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah, lots of caffeine. So when you do a 24-hour shift, then do you have like so many days off after that to recover, or? Yeah,
it definitely depends on your schedule. And we've done a few different schedules here in town in Caldwell County, but we are usually given 2 or more days off. A pretty common schedule is what we call 24/48. You're on for 1 day, you're off for 2. So if you have those 2 days off, you're absolutely able to rest, to recoup, to repack, and come back to work.
Sure.
We don't work day after day after day after day. We try not to. We spend our day there, and then we come home, and we usually have 2, 3. Sometimes we have stretches of 4 days off before we come back. As long as if we are working these 24-hour shifts, a lot of times we only work 2 shifts a week. That would be our full-time hours. That's 48 in our week, and that's it. So It gives us the opportunity to do a lot of other things on our off days. A lot of us work other jobs, but it gives
48 hours just is not enough to work. Yeah, okay.
Sometimes.
I get it. Okay, well, Sarah, what else so now the orientation is a week from today, 5 p.m. What's the location?
That's going to be at the Caldwell County EOC building. It's right up here across the parkway on Northfield Drive, where we keep all our ambulances, where all of us work out of. On all of our classes are going to be there also in town. So
do you have the address?
Yeah, it should be 102 Northfield Drive. It's on that flyer that's been floating around Facebook and around town.
Yeah, I printed that off. That's how I kind of got to looking for some stuff and found this on Facebook, and so I printed that off. It's like, oh, that's something that might be interesting. And we were talking before we started, And you said that this is something you're going to offer every year. This is the second time you've offered it, correct?
Yeah. There's been different classes here in town, and like I said, I haven't been in town very long. There's been other classes, but here since ComCare has come in and managed EMS here, we have started. We did a class last year that started in January, February, and we're starting this class again this January, and we hope to keep that up every year. We hope to start a class in January. If there's a large demand for it, we may start more classes. We may do one in the spring and one in the fall, but right now we're doing these once a year. We hope we're going to do this class this January, and we hope to start another one next January and keep that up, I guess, as long as we can. We'll see how it goes.
And so far, how do you have a limit on how many people can attend?
We don't have a set limit right now. Obviously there would come a point where we can't take 100 people into class. I don't expect to really get to the top of our limits. We, if we need, we can always bring in assistant instructors. If we come up with 20, 30 people, it may be a lot, but that might be something we just need to go find another instructor, and we can absolutely still take people in and teach them. I think our last class started with 13 or 15 people or so.
That's still pretty good for a first.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And then this class, we have quite a few registered. Obviously, until you really get into it, we don't know how many we're going to have. But right now, I think we have 15 or 18 or so registered, which is a pretty good size for our little class. Mm-hmm. It keeps us busy for sure.
Well, hopefully somebody listening today is sitting there thinking, I need to do this. I'm going to do this. And so you'll have more than 15 by the time the first day of class gets here.
Yeah. And that would be wonderful. We are more than happy to have new people come in, even if they know absolutely nothing about what we do. It's a great place to learn. And we love to teach people. I love to teach. I've been teaching a little bit just about the whole time I've been in EMS. I absolutely love it. So we're happy to have people come in. I'd love to talk to anybody. Even if you just don't know and you want to ask more questions, then I'd love to talk to anybody about it if they want to call and just see what else they can find out.
That's another question I was going to ask you. Which do you prefer more, the paramedic side or the teaching side?
That's hard to say. I've got a little bit in me that just loves each side of it. I love to teach, and I'd love to keep teaching for the rest of my career, but I absolutely love getting out there on the truck and being a paramedic too. So, and it's a wonderful opportunity here at EMS. I can do both. I spend my hours on the truck, and then I also have some time I can spend teaching, and I'm very happy for that opportunity here with ComCare.
And did you have to take special training to be able to teach?
Yeah, I did. I had to teach, assist with an entire class, which I have done to get my EMT level instructor. I also had to go take some, I can't remember how many hours. It was like a 20-hour course or something I took on top of teaching a class. And then, there was a few little things I had to do to get my instructor. And then I have my instructor to the EMT basic level. I can't teach paramedic level yet. If I were to go get my paramedic instructor, I would have to go help teach a paramedic class and do more things to get that certification.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Sarah, I'm sure that we could probably get a lot more information from you, but unfortunately our time is coming to an end. I'm going to have to wrap this up one more time. Tell them when it is, where it is, and how much they have to come up with.
So the class is going to be starting next week. We have orientation the 3rd. Orientation's at 5 p.m. We're going to have class every Tuesday and Thursday night, so 2 nights a week from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's about a 6-month class, and in whole the class costs $800.
And it's going to be
it's going to be at the EOC building here in town, which is at 102 Northfield Drive.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. I appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Cline. So if you are in the least bit interested in becoming an EMT, basic classes are starting up soon, so get yourself signed up.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.